Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's topic has been inspired by a lot of online, namely Twitter, discourse over bad reviews, and for specifically traditionally published authors. And I have noticed just the past, I would say, year, because now I've gotten to know and befriend a lot of traditional writers. Not to say that any of them act out whenever they see a bad review or anything like that, not what I'm saying. But I have gotten to know the process a little bit better and more aware of traditionally published writers and them acting out. Honestly. And this comes, I think, this is just my opinion and experience, so don't take it as gospel, but I think the big difference between online serial writers and self-publishing and traditionally published authors is the reaction to negative comments and bad reviews. There have been some silly self-published writers going off just the same as traditionally published writers, of course, but I haven't seen it as much as traditionally published authors do it. And here's my hot take on it. I think when you're doing serial online writing, which is like Wattpad, Radish, Tapas, Inkit, so on and so forth, you are basically doing it all by yourself, which is essentially self-publishing. So self-publishing, online serial writing, kind of, I'm mixing those together as of right now, because I don't want to say both at the same time. So online writing, you're doing it all yourself. And especially on if you're on a website like Wattpad, it's expected of you to interact and be social, or else you're not going to get as many fans. If you don't reply to comments or you don't even like acknowledge your fans, you're not going to keep your fans. It's very social on especially Wattpad, and that means you see some stuff happening like your book is trash, your writing is trash, your characters suck, your plot doesn't make sense, you're a horrible writer, go jump off a cliff and die. Yeah. That's normal. And at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, if you're writing online, are you doing this either for fun or for a professional future? But do you want to keep this up? Because it's gonna get worse when the more you get well known. I've only had one person say to jump off a cliff and die because my writing sucks, but I've had a lot of other friends where they just like it's constantly drama and hate in their DMs, in the comments, on their board, and then it goes into their Instagram and their Twitter. You don't have anyone like an agent or publisher or an editor to back you up necessarily, so you have different ways to respond, or you don't respond at all. Those are your choices. You don't have anyone to call, for backup, unless you want to be crazy about it and you call in your fans, and that has been a problem in the past with some Wattpadders. But for the most part, it's you really have to decide, are you gonna go on with this because you love it, or are you just, this online writing, or just writing in general, is not for you. You really do have two choices when you're doing online writing. And I know there are people that stopped because they're like, I'm just doing this for fun, and people are saying all my stuff sucks, and I'm like, I don't really care anymore. So they like unpublish their books and they just go back to being readers, or they delete their whole account. Depends on the person. I think negative comments are or funny, even the one to go jump off a cliff. I'm like, oh yeah, because my book really, in the end, matters that much to someone that they want to comment that I should die. Yeah, that's solid. I'm in your mind, rent free. I think I find that really funny. But then you also have to note, if you're doing online serial writing specifically, not necessarily self-publishing, a lot of them are teenagers and they don't know what they're saying. And you're just like, okay, yeah, good for you. You're probably like 13. We're gonna move on. Really picking your battles, and seeing if you're gonna embarrass yourself or not. Because unless you delete the comments, they're there. And then, like, the 13-year-old might, screenshot their comments and then your replies because they're so proud, and, then there's a whole thing on Twitter or TikTok, wherever they want to put it. I don't even know. They're acting like silly teenagers, so that's also another thing that you do have to keep in mind for both areas, which I think traditionally published authors sometimes forget. A lot of the people that are giving them a lot of crap are teenagers. So I don't know if you want to go after them about that. As online serial writers, when you have there is no wall, there is no agent, publisher, editor, no one to block that out for you. You either get thick skin or you just leave. You give up. And you're like, bye, this isn't for me. Whereas for traditional writers, they don't, some of them do. Now that some agents are taking Wattpad books, if like the first draft was on Wattpad and then you take it off. But let's just say no experience with online writing at all. No, nothing like that. So you write a book, you have a few beta readers. Let's say 3 beta readers. No, okay, let's say 5. We're gonna go for 5. 5 beta readers. There was some harshness there. Maybe one was really mean. Okay, so you have a really mean one, but the rest are really nice and encouraging, and they say, F that person, don't listen to them, it's all fine. And then you get your manuscript, you get the synopsis and the query letter, and then eventually you get an agent, and the agent obviously loves your book, or else they wouldn't have signed you. And then, you go find an editor, and you find a publishing house, and, they were like, okay, you need to fix this, and that, and there's a lot of stress there. No doubt about it, there was a lot of stress. But then when you release the book, how many people did say to you, your work is crap and you should jump off a cliff? Maybe that one beta reader that was really mean. But everyone else is fairly positive, or at least indifferent, let's just say. Now you have a conundrum where you have hundreds and thousands and multiple thousands, depending how popular your book is when it releases. And people are saying that it's trash, it's revolting, it's a waste of space. The worst things you can say. You're now being bombarded by it. And it's everywhere. On every social media aspect that you can think of, you're being told that your book and you are dumpster fires and you should jump off a cliff because you're a waste of space. I'm not saying that is a good thing that people do. Obviously not. But I'm saying you're not used to it. And so you have these traditionally published authors that go after book reviewers, booktubers, random people with anime pictures and like 10 followers because they said, they added you and said the book is disgusting and vile and whatever else that they say. And then people like, what are you doing? That's really bad of you to do as an author, especially if you're traditionally published and you have, like, you know, you have people behind you, like it's like a team, agent, editor, publishing house. And then it becomes a whole drama thing for like a week on book Twitter. You know. Fun times, right? You're a talk of the town because, honestly, I think because the vast majority of traditionally published authors aren't used to that. And there was no chance to get used to that. They don't have that type of thick skin. Now, there are some, I think, well, I mean, the majority, not just some, the majority of traditionally published authors have a good set of thick skin, however they got it. But lately, I don't, like the past 5 years, 7 years, I don't know what's going on with that, because I think, like, I don't know, every month there's some drama, some stuff where, like, a author goes on the attack, and because, okay, one person gave you a 1 star. Look, I have 1 stars on my stuff on Goodreads. Like I said, someone told me to jump off a cliff and die because my book sucked. People say, like, why are there so many basic white boy names, like specifically for my first novel, which is really funny because it's like, it's basic white boy names like James and Thomas and Michael. Yeah, I mean, it's a Revolutionary War. They're not very, you know, not very unique names, you know, but it's still funny. And just, you know, on, and you're like, I don't know, what are you doing? And it's not even just comments, like, people don't even, like, need to interact with you, because for Wattpad especially, I don't know about the other ones, but for Wattpad you have reading lists, and the author, every single time you're added to a reading list, it does not matter which reading list, but a reading list, you're notified. So you can have readers that never even commented or, you know, privately message you or anything like that, getting the notification that they added one of your books to do not recommend, barf, never ever will I read this. Just, you know, on and on and on. Traditionally published authors don't have that. No, you don't have that aspect where you're added to a horrible reading list and you're notified every single time. Nay, you do not. So I think that is the big difference. Now, do you have serial writers that go after people that do that? Of course. But I'm gonna say that a lot of them are like 17 to like 25, and they're like, they take it way too personally. And since, you know, the 17 to 25, they grew up on the internet, and it's really become normal to just kind of reply to everything. I'm seeing like 30, 40-year-old traditionally published writers going after book bloggers viciously. And I think there's in that sense, that's different, because I think the older people haven't grown up with social media, and they're like shocked. The older ones are shocked that a scathing review can be like so public, like on Goodreads or like on BookTube, whereas the younger writers that are writing and they're going after every single person, and even sometimes like getting their fans to go after this one person who said like the book sucks, they're used to that because, I mean, because it's kind of normal. which is not a good thing. It's kind of normal to go after someone if they said something bad against you on the internet. Because what are these younger people doing, like, on Facebook, and they're in high school, and people, you know, are commenting that, oh, your hair looks disgusting, or why do you have so much acne, you look ugly, oh, you know, your nose is too big, you know, like that type of stuff. And it could be for the younger writers that really viciously go after people that say negative things, you know, on like Wattpad or Tapas. Not so much Radish. Radish is older. Just thinking, oh, like, I go after people when they say something to me in the comments on my Instagram, so I'm gonna go after these people. But it's a little different when you're going after students, like your fellow students, versus some random person you don't know. Because I don't know, it's just not really a good idea. Now, I have replied to negative comments. Most recent was like, because I used James and Lily, so someone thought that I was trying to be like Harry Potter. I'm like, no. I don't like, I thought up this book, you know, and the names way before Harry Potter really, like, became a thing. And I was thinking, how old is this person? Because I don't know. And they're like, oh, like, before 1997? And I'm like, no, I mean, James is a family name, and, like, it's a basic white boy name, James. I mean, how many people use James, right? And Lily is a very basic, I mean, not basic. You know a lot of lilies because lilies are pretty, you know? Really cute flower. That's my thought. I didn't go after it because I'm trying to, like, allude to James and Lily and Harry Potter. That's a little weird. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like Harry Potter. Why would I do that? And then there's the other one, same book too. It's A Patriot's Tale. It won a Waddy, so it's getting more, you know, more reads and likes and all that stuff. Totally normal. But there was, you know, someone said the corset should not be painful. And I said, in the previous chapters, Captain James Thomas steals all of her corsets. So yeah, they don't fit. Not supposed to fit because they're stolen. They're not made for her. And silence for both of them. That's not mean. That's just me explaining, one, I did not name my characters after a Harry Potter love fest, because I don't care about Harry Potter. I don't like it. I read it. I gave it 1 star. The first book, don't care. I watched the movies when they came out, but then the corset thing, that it needs to be said because there's a whole, you know, stereotype of you can't breathe, you're gonna pass out, they're not comfortable. We're trying to get out of that stereotype, because I wear a corset. I have a whole corset outfit for the Renaissance Festival. I can wear that all day because it's fit for me. It's customized for me. Which, yeah, if you haven't worn a corset, what can you say? Really, truly? Or, like, if you haven't done research, what can you say? Really, truly? So there's things about, you know, picking your battles. That wasn't even really a battle. That's just explaining something. And there's a lot of people that think a book is interesting, but they don't read historical fiction, or they don't read sci-fi, so they don't really know what's going on. But they like the story enough, they're going to try it out. That happens a lot with Wattpad and other websites like Wattpad. So you do have to have some type of patience. If you don't have patience about explaining stuff, then I don't know why you're there either. Now, you're not really explaining stuff with traditionally published novels unless you have a blog and people really love to ask you questions and you answer them. That's kind of different, but, like, that's not even, like, in real time. I'm getting these comments as they come every time I check the notifications, which isn't very, like, hugely often. I check it every day. I'm not checking it every few minutes, but I'm checking it every day. So it's real time, live time, we're interacting, we're having fun, we're trying to build some socialization between my fans and the followers and me, and then my friends that are also writers that write in the same genre, and we're gonna just, it's a social thing, and I don't think traditionally published novelists have that, so they don't understand, I would say, the intricacy of that and how to proceed. So they're just attacking everyone if they don't have that thick skin. And then you make yourself look like a fool. So hold off. Just think that it's probably like someone that's trolling you. I mean, it's probably someone that's trolling. But also, I mean, if they bought your book, I don't know, who cares? That's my thought. And also, like, they have a right to not like your book. I don't know. Like, if you really think that vast majority of readers are going to like your book just because it's your book, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know if art in general would be for that type of mindset. So I think I would leave it at the internet and reviewers and just, you know, readers. Take what they say with a grain of salt and don't go crazy over some random person that doesn't even have a like real life picture of themselves and like could be probably a bot if they only have like 5 followers saying that your book sucks. I mean, it's something about artists that you really have to, you know, accept, or you're gonna be miserable. And maybe you give up, maybe you don't, but I don't want to be miserable. That would be a really miserable life. I really live by the quote by Andy Warhol, I'm paraphrasing it, but he said that keep producing art, and as everyone around you is saying if it's good or bad, or if it's even art, just keep going. Just keep producing as much art as you want, and let everyone else decide what they think. It doesn't particularly matter. It matters in some sense, but like on a personal level, because this is really about personal feelings. On a personal level, it doesn't matter if some stranger in another country thinks that your book is an absolutely literature masterpiece. It doesn't, at the end of the day. How many other people think that it's an absolute literary masterpiece? A lot. So look at the positives and not the negatives. I know it's hard because, you know, everyone deals with it. Humans seem to focus on just the negatives and really brings you down, but focus on the positives. Focus on the people that are raving about your books and about your writing style and your characters. Focus on that. And it's hard sometimes to ignore the negativity, but in the end, it's good for not just you, but everyone around you. Not even kidding. Because if you're in a bad mood all the time, I don't know, you just feel it in the air. Thank you so much for watching my discussion video, and have a great reading and writing day. Bye!